going to feel comfortable, obviously, with the teams and the chemistry that you've got kind of in that lobby, but hopefully you get a favorable spawn. Maybe you'll find yourself as the only team in the Tower of Babel like we saw happen just in the last map. I don't know. These spawns are crazy today.
Yeah, they certainly are. And as we take a look at it, as a reminder, we are headed back to Brackish, our last Brackish map of the day for EU, this time without a Mandel brick. So it's going to be the battle, like you said, for the Tower of Babel, which I think rhymes. I'm going to start making my own book of rhymes you can make in Delta Force. Let's take a look at the operator usages thus far. And I was going to say as expected, absolutely not as expected. We've already burned both of our Saniva operators for Fallen and Mandelbrick Addiction in our first 2 rounds. We'll not see another Saniva from them. The only team that has yet to burn a Saniva is Perry. Now, I'm spending a lot of time on the Saniva operator. There's a lot of other operators that are really important, maybe even frankly more important. We've just seen so many crazy plays with Saniva that it's worth mentioning.
I think that's true, right? He's been really impressive when it comes to this. I know I was talking to Vivid last weekend, and he's like, yo, I love playing Luna, but I'm really shocked at how much Saniva is coming through in the comps, and I might just pick him up. And, well, for the teams that have already burned him, you're not going to have that available to you, so hopefully you can lock it down, have this thing end early, because if not, we're going the distance, and you're going to have to contend against some Sanivas in the most important games of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, teams all varying degrees of strategies, a lot of operators to talk about. Some operators already off the board, but even still, it is time for Brackish, and it is time for no Mantle Brick round. We're going to be paying attention to those airdrops. Could potentially see an AWM, some Lapua ammo picked up from some of these teams. Maybe they'll actually use it. Maybe they'll actually get out of the map with it and use it in the Mantle Brick round. It'll be the first time we've seen that on broadcast. But you can see our spawn locations. We've got our 2 top teams, team in first and team in second, both inside the Tower of Babel already. It's going to get mixy real quick.
Look, that's exactly what I want to have happen, for sure. But for Perry, who said, I had admin early on in Zero Dam to myself. I'm used to being just the one and only team. You know they're going to run into each other. And to be fair, Legerance and Latesse, after that Mandel brick, they're going to be feeling pretty good. They had some nice fights, and we've seen them in the Delta Force Global League, just holding it down. So they'll be fun to contend with. But I love looking at the north side, right? No Game, No Life kind of up there in the center thing, up by Grand Hammond. But you also have Mandel brick addicts who are looking for maybe that comeback sensation. They really got some asset values in match number 2 and probably are coming in relatively kitted out.
Yeah, 3 teams inside of the Tower of Babel as expected. Tiff, you called it perfectly. The battle for the brick in last round is now the battle for the Babel. YJK gonna slow walk in here. They don't want to give away their position with their footsteps. See a player above. It's going to be Perry in the yellow all day today. I love our spectator system. People to x-ray through, see all the different teams. Free up above, behind this team. Legerance on the right. Who shoots first? Might take a while. Might be a fight that lasts a long time, or could be over in a blink of an eye. That's what we love about Delta Force. Perry might just be getting out of dodge here, Tiff. They might not like that fight. I mean, they've got some decent loot. Picked up a couple things in Babel, and they just didn't like the angle that they were taking inside of the building.
It's respectable, right? Like, if you do not feel like it's going to be a smart engagement for you, you're starting to realize that in match number 3, we are that much closer to the potential of sealing our tickets. And with one Mandel brick already down and you don't have it, nah, I'm good, right? So even though we can focus on just kind of looting on up, we love that Legerance and Latesse, they're kind of inching their way in. Of course, you want to be smart about it, but YJK picks up a banger, almost 500K of value just from that one asset. So you know that's going to keep on climbing up and going to do really well when you're fighting for potential of second place.
Yeah, any loot you can find here on this map is extremely important. Sets yourself up success on the leaderboard, sets yourself up for success in terms of what loot you bring in. So far, so good. No shots fired yet. It's the name of the game here in operations. It's slow play until you find the angle. And right now, if I'm Legerance, I'm looking to wipe teams. I think if I'm Legerance and I've got the advantage on the Mantle Brick, I'd love to take some fights here. Looks like our first shot's being fired against our NPCs on the map. Blue Eagle, extremely annoying in the air sometimes. That helicopter has played spoiler 2 Mandel Brick routes before. And it looks like NBA is going to take care of that quickly. Get some loot from it.
I think they're doing that, Gosh. I think they came in with an interesting composition, right? You got 2 hat claws. You've got the we are going in, the knocks and everything. Like, we want to be so much of just a menace to everyone inside the lobby.
I mean, that's what I would be doing. I'd love to be a menace on this map. Get a little mixy. Get aggressive. Perry playing nice and slow here. I think they've got a read where this team's at. So they've set up kind of a trap for them. This really does feel like they've set up a full, like, hunting trap in the jungle. And this Mandel Brick Addiction team's walking straight into it. See ya! Wide open angles, and unfortunately isn't able to get both. Nice trade from the off-angle Dickinson. Perfect setup, perfect execution. The prey has been captured. The hunters will eat tonight. Good grief. Perfect setup. Very well done.
Yeah, my jaw just dropped because that was so impressive the way they were able to do that. If I'm Mandel Brick Addicts, I'm not gonna say punching the air right now, but I am kind of punching the air because there are things when you think about when you're going through the semis last weekend, right? If you had that much of a powerful performance, and I hate that I have to keep harping on it, but of course you have your 3 invited teams that are here that are going to be different, right? And well, Perry's one of them. They're clearly coming out swinging, and that's exactly what they need to do. Now, you talked about it. You were like, look, this is where our teams came from. They have been competing in Delta Force since the very beginning. Or, you know, like Lejeron and Lattes that's still down there in Tower of Babel, kind of sussing out YJK. They're a team that has been at the top of the Delta Force Global League. So this is the quality of our invited teams that are going to make it really difficult for the teams coming through the qualifiers to get to LAN.
No, I love that shout. And frankly, invited is with an asterisk, right? I mean, these teams did earn it. I mean, they were invited to other tournaments, won those tournaments. Here's a quick look at another fight, though. Fallen's found an angle, and they found a knock and a full. Fleric with a nice angle through the window to find one. Not going to be necessarily a signal flare to his team to push out because it's so far away, but that's 300K straight to the bank.
But Fallen is one of those teams that did come through the qualifiers, right? We've seen them compete through a ton of Delta Force events, and they have just proven every single time that we see them that they are a force to be reckoned with. And now just making sure they're putting the icing on the cake with their asset values, gearing up to be able to contend for those Mandel Bricks, opening things out with a nice frag, and look at that, half HP, and we're just going to keep on moving forward. It gives you that opening that you need to kind of hit that cross and take over, because it's just a 3v2.
Yeah, 3v2, a huge boon, and I guess it was a signal flare. They're going to fly at this. You don't want to... We've seen teams scam before. Don't want to scam. Play together as a unit. You know you get the win if you play this correctly. You have the advantage, and actually just finds the angle. Flare going crazy right now. Picking up a second kill. There's a reason Fallen was near the top of the leaderboard in the semifinals. The reason they're a top team today. Able to find 2 kills, looking for the third. There's the top angle. Fleric gets the all 3. Fleric needs no help. 1, 2, 3, knock him down. Ready for what comes next.
And look at what that is. Goes straight to an airdrop. The blessings from above to really just give you that nice reward.
It's another big fight off screen. There they are on screen. Legerants just wiped all of YJK in front of our very eyes. Winning the Tower of Babel when you're already at the top of the leaderboard. Just barely, by the way. They were all so low. To be able to do it with all 3 up now, they've got this entire POI to themselves with 11.5 minutes on the clock. A huge boon for them to pick up a ton of loot and increase their loot value just in case somebody else gets a brick. But we got to get back into another fight. Game 3, certainly one that's a lot hotter than maybe I expected.
Yeah, you still have Perry lurking up in the north and likely got this pick onto the player from Fallen. At least HR is able to drop straight onto it. But you're right, we're halfway through. I did get a look at kind of the cost of what it took for Legeron to Lattes to take that fight in the Tower of Babel. Look, if your Nox is clutching things up and then you look at his kit and you see, okay, well, his Silent Assault was gone. He was low on the flashbang. So we saw so much expense, and now they're going to have to manage those cooldowns, but they should be fine being the only team in the South, since this is like kind of one of the last standing fights that we're going to witness.
3 teams on the map. All 3 teams with all 3 players alive. And all separated for the most part. 2 of our... I mean, this is actually... What is this? This is our top 3. This is first, second, and third on our leaderboard. I mean, this is huge for them. You can see Kaiser making sure that nobody comes in from this angle, but not going to see anybody for a very long time. He just doesn't know that. Teammates making sure that camp is theirs before we do anything else.
I love that they retreated, right? They pick up that knock and then just kind of ran. And that's essentially focusing on the loot, staying in their lane, staying just poised and focusing on the long goal, right? It's we get out of here safely. You know that next fight that we're going to witness is once we start seeing teams trying to get out of this map. And those are what you have to be poised and ready for. So seeing Legeron to Lattes down there in the new Tower of Babel, it's like, okay, hey, where are we going after this? We know we could potentially send one out. We have the dog tags required to activate the extract in the top of the new Tower of Babel. So maybe we just place our bets and get one player out and then send 2 to fight. But they don't know that we have 2 teams left that are still full teams of 3. So to send someone into a 2v3 can be difficult, but I am giving them the benefit of the doubt, because how many times have we seen a 1v3 clutched up from that team?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah.
In this event and plenty of others. It's a huge fight, though. You got to remember, this airdrop is gigantic for the spread. I mean, obviously, a boon potentially for this map. There's not a lot of fighting left on the map. 9 minutes on the clock. Airdrop behind them. They're going to make sure they get into a powerful position to hold this angle, knowing that they are able to retake this building here. I don't know if they're going to swing on this fight or just play spoiler to potentially... Oh, no, Kaiser! Checking the wrong angle, and luckily doesn't go down there. Frankly, should have. But I think a bit of the smoke covered his body, so he's able to stay alive. Perry can back up and play for this airdrop. Whether they pick up the AWM from the airdrop or just great loot, it's going to be a huge value add for their team. On the left-hand side, you'll see the current assets from this map alone. And a pretty even spread at the top. Perry technically lagging behind.
Okay, so we are just going to run. This is our time. Gonna gear up together and focus on the task at hand. You have 8 minutes left, and I think this is smart, right? Take these different angles, get up onto that high ground, and maybe just look for any audio cue, because if we do have this airdrop coming on in, it's who's gonna get there first, and is it going to be safe for you to jump immediately on it, especially with Fallen kind of lurking near the parking lot. They're going to want a piece of this, especially it being the second airdrop of the map. You know what that comes with.
Ooh, there it is. Got an AWM. This is a huge, huge boon for them. Really would like to take this into the next map for the Mandelbrick round. It's Star Baxter that's able to pick it up, I believe. And this is actually the same player from Perry that did the exact same thing in the DFEI tournament a couple weeks ago. The Elite Invitational, this team was invited. They have a ton of experience, though. They just barely missed the mark in the Delta Force Global League. In Season 1 and 2, this team's been playing together a very long time. They get to the Elite Invitational, dominate. And it was actually Star Baxter with the AWM that completely changed the tide of battle for them and got them the victory to get the brick. Could see a repeat of history for Perry if they're able to get out of the map with it, which they've got plenty of time to do so. We do see one member of Fallen get out with, I assume, a majority of their loot. The other 2 remaining players staying on the map, maybe to play spoiler.
Look, smart. We were talking about that with Legeron to Lattes. We're like, were they going to do that, right? Well, we do see Fallen do it, and I think it's smart to start focusing on that, especially if it's not a Mandelbrick round. You have to maintain a lot of that asset value, because you do have to see, hey, if maybe we don't get a Mandelbrick, maybe it ends next game. There's a possibility for that to happen. So you have to play as if it's ending right now.
Patience right now. All 3 teams separated. But it's going to be a battle over this middle extraction point again. 2 different teams this time, likely, though. Perry likely to get there first. Lagerance to come in from the Tower of Babel afterwards.
I need to make sure everything kind of gets flipped to activate it, but you do have... You'll probably start seeing this pick up in the pace as soon as we get to kind of that 4 to 5 minute mark. But for right now, we've just kind of got to make sure we're clearing things out in museum, and they'll probably find some goods here as well. See what's behind the door. Give us the goods. Give us the reds.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get. There's the lever pulled. So we're on a 4-minute timer. Minute and a half will be on the clock after this extraction goes away. Got a couple other options based on dog tags through the Tower of Babel, over at the helipad. But it's going to be a battle over this middle extraction. This is a freebie. And some sizable loot there. Woo, nice little, almost 600K, I think, between the stopwatch and the gold bar for Perry. That's a nice little value add. They've caught back up on the leaderboard there on the left-hand side. You can see them actually jumping barely over their opposition in this map.
Dare I say I'm nervous, Goj, because as you see, teams are going to be sprinting at that extract point. Now, if I'm Lagerance de la Teste, I have to bide my time, but we saw what this cost the teams in that earlier brackish map, right? Think about where they had already set up, and the team that got there first and played around those shipping containers and kind of had those angles, they were the ones that extracted, and then we saw the immediate YJK not able to get out, and they're just like, oh my God, we are so done.
This is, I think, exactly what Fallen wanted. If they've gotten a read on the fact that this extraction's been pulled, which they should, they got out with the majority of their loot. You can see 2 members of Fallen stayed on the map to play spoiler. They should play for this as well in third party, this potential 3v3 between Perry and Lagerance. I assume Lagerance is going to come down and contest this. Perry would love to just get out of here. Again, this is our last non-Mandelbrick round, so loot value here, a huge boon for your leaderboard. I've explained this a couple times. I saw a couple of folks asking in chat a moment ago. Mandelbrick is our first ranking metric, then total assets. So if 2 teams, for instance, have the same amount of Mandelbricks, it does come down to total assets. It's extremely important to maximize your loot value. You can see on the left-hand side, we have swapped it over to the total assets category. 16.1 mil if Perry gets out of here with this value that they've got on them, plus the extra boons that they'll get at the end of this map, aka the kills that they got, match compensation, all that good stuff. So they're going to be up over 17 mil after this map. Just a huge, huge boon for them to be able to play for second or potentially first if they're able to get this next one. Reminder too, Tiff, not to ramble on, but
no,
they also have the AWM. I mean, this is everything. I mean, sure, you could use it now to prevent teams from getting close to the fight. It does look like Lagerance is going to think about it, but great map for Perry.
I love when you kind of step back and see how they're kind of breaking it down to hold this. But Nox, this is what's going to be the best thing, right? You've got the silent assault. You can activate it. You got the tactical flashbangs. So what is that going to do? If you throw out a flashbang, you connect. You immediately get that information. You can pop your silent assault and really take a flank here. So I'm expecting them to do. And you see the opening come through. First flashbang out. Second one to follow. There's the connection.
Again, up next. Oh, that nade just hit him in the chest.
Here, hold this.
That was crazy. I don't know if they're going to find an angle. Top left by the minimap. Probably a little bit small if you're on mobile. 27 seconds on this extraction timer. Now only about 20 seconds away. Nox has been playing Route Man all day today and has come up big in giant moments for a 1v3. Really want to make sure Star Baxter doesn't get out of this map. Flair's found an angle. Flair from the off angle gets a full onto Vlad.
That hurts. That hurts. That's not what you want to have happen here, but Fallen has proven time and time again that this is what they're good at doing. But look who gets on out. We see one member of Lagerance de la Teste. It's going to be Zap on out. The entire team of Perry has made it out of this map. And now Fallen, the 2 members that have been kind of left behind, from that initial extracting point are just going to see, can we find this last player here?
This is what Fallen wanted. We called it. It's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to play spoiler, and they're doing it near flawlessly. Not a perfect execution, but we take those. That's 600K to their bank for 2 kills that they were able to pick up on the 2 final remaining players of Les Durants. A great map for Fallen to be able to get out with some loot out of 1 player, stick 2 on the map, and spoil Les Durants. They really, though, would have liked to come in just a hair earlier to make sure that Perry team did not get out of the map. It was just a little bit too slow yet again. We saw that timer at about 20 seconds, Tiv. And as they started fighting, boom, if you're in that extraction zone, you are out of the map. So a little bit of a missed opportunity, but they still get a decent amount of value for staying, and they punish Les Durants. Great effort from Fallen. Les Durants has got to be shaking their heads. Obviously still going to be at the top of the leaderboard because of the mantle brick, but even still, great plays and a great map. That was a fun one.
Yeah, we definitely got a ton of people out. Perry, though, they're going to be that heavy hitting squad when we look towards match number 4. And
Welcome back, Delta Force Invitational Qualifiers EU Regional Finals. And here's our match 3 leaderboard. As expected, Perry at the top just in this last map. 7 million map again. A great map for them, Tip. Obviously, the AWM helping out in that category and loot value. Able to use that in the next one. But later on, with only 1 player, I believe, getting out of the lobby, it's actually not a bad scoreline for them. They must have had some sizable loot in their safe boxes.
that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's all about that. Not only because this is where things are going to get shaken up. But before we get there, we'll talk about that later. I love that Perry, yet again, on these non-Mandelbrick rounds are finding a lot of success. They're getting these airdrops. They're getting the quality loot. They're finding a ton of red items. And not only that, but they're getting significant value from fights. The issue with them is finding the same success on a Mandelbrick round. They went out pretty early in match number 2 and didn't really get what they wanted out of that, but they do still have 3 more chances as we seek on our final Mandelbrick rounds. And I can say the same thing for No Game No Life. Mandelbrick Addiction can't really get things rolling into some of these matches. It's like as if these teams are just constantly catching them off guard. So some minor mistakes that need to be tightened up as we look towards the overall leaderboard. When you want to get to LAN, you have to be perfect, and it has to start now.
Yeah, there are no other stages. There are no second chances. You've got to get to LAN in this event right now. Les Durants could close it out right here. They were in first because of their Mandelbrick, but still have a sizable amount of loot as well at over 10 million. Perry, top of the loot category, second on our leaderboard. Fallen close behind. Less than 4 million spread between the two. This is anybody's game at the top. But here's the thing about this format that I love. YJK in last. Unfortunately, having a tough tournament. They get a brick right here. They're top 2, potentially making it to China. That's how important these mantle bricks are. This is going to be a banger of a first map on Space City, Tiff.
Ooh, now I'm so excited, right? And I'm excited for the teams that are finding themselves not in a solid position, right? No Game No Life, YJK, they're going to come out swinging because this is really a go for broke situation as you start to think about